Well, howdy folks, it's Matthew, your friendly neighborhood technician, making another video for you out of Boise, Idaho. I'd like to go ahead and show you how to install front disc brakes, and go ahead and give you some pointers and tippers and tips on all that other good stuff there. One of the things that's interesting about front disc brakes and rear disc brakes is some people, I've noticed, think you have to open up the bleeder, which is right here. As you can see, you open that up in order to push this piston back. You know, that is one way of doing it. You can open that bleeder up if you want to. The thing is once you open that bleeder valve up, you're going to have to spend the time to bleed it back out. And so by doing it the way that I'm going to show you, will save you the time of having to bleed your brakes out. In the end, all you have to do is pump them up. So in order to work on your disc brakes, the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to come up to the top up here. You're going to find your brake reservoir, and you're going to open that up. All right. And so as you push that piston back to get your new brake pads in, this is going to go ahead and push the fluid all the way back up. But then when you're done installing your brake system, you're going to go ahead and just put your cap back on, go inside, and pump your brakes up until it becomes firm again, and your fluid is where it was when you started. So let's go ahead and get started with this job. Now, I have a few different tools that I use when doing disc brakes. Sometimes I have a special tool that pushes the brake back. It looks like a C-clamp with a makeshift brake pad on it, but I'm just going to use my C-clamp because that was closest to me when I was grabbing tools for this job. So you can go ahead and just use a C-clamp, line it up in there. It doesn't take a whole lot of force or oomph. You just slowly turn it. Until that brake piston is pushed all the way back. Now you're good to go there. All right. And then you're going to want to head and get your rotor put on. Now this is a brand new rotor. It has been sitting for a little bit, so it's got some, as you can see, some discoloration, a light layer of rust. You know, even if you're just driving your car around and you look down one day through the spokes on your rim or something and you see some rust on your rotor, that's not bad. That's okay. And the best way to get that off is to drive at like 35 miles an hour and do a hard stop. Believe it or not, that rust will go ahead and clean itself off, so you'll be good there. All right, so now that we got our brake rotor on, we're gonna go ahead and get our bracket installed. And on most vehicles, most makes and model, your bracket will look like this, and it'll be bolted to the wheel hub with two 17, 18, 19 millimeter bolts. They'll be large bolts, and of course, you know, you'll have different looking bolts for different makes and models, but it's pretty much all the same with the disc brake. You're gonna have a bracket that's gonna hold your rotor on, and this is called your brake bracket. Tighten that up. And when you tighten it, give it a good But it doesn't have to be god-awful tight. Remember, you're going to want to go back in here and change these out one day, so you're going to have to be the one to get that loose. It doesn't have to be super duper tight. Alright, now that you got your brake bracket in, go ahead and install your brake pads. And then, once you get your brake pads set in there, the next thing you're going to do is get your brake caliper reinstalled. Alright, and then depending upon what year, make, and model of car you're working on, disc brake setup, you're going to have 2 bolts that are going to hold your brake caliper in. And they could be anywhere from 12, 13, 14, 15 millimeter bolts. And they're going to be on the back right here and right here. I believe these are actually 14 millimeter bolts. I'm going to pause it real quick so I don't bore you while I'm going to go look for a 14 millimeter wrench. Alright, so I got my 14 millimeter wrench there. Alright, now we're just going to double check everything, make sure everything is nice and tight. We tightened up our 2 bolts there, we tightened up our 2 bolts there, our brake pads are installed. So now, let's go up top and see what our brake fluid looks like after pushing that piston back without opening up the bleeder. If you notice, it's come to the top, that's okay. We're going to go ahead and put our brake cap back on. We'll get in the vehicle here, and you're going to pump your brake pedal until you feel that it is firm. Just gently and slightly do it. There we go, we got a firm pedal. And life is good. So there you go, folks. There's a real quick how to install disc brakes. I'm going to get the wheels back on this vehicle, get it down off of the jack stand, and take it for a test drive, see if I can't knock some of that dirt and rust off of there from it sitting around. Alright everybody, well this is Matthew, your friendly neighborhood technician. I appreciate you coming out and hanging out with me and watching my videos. Thanks for supporting me. If you have any questions, I think I'm coming down with a cold. If you have any questions, just shoot them to me in the comments. I'm pretty good at getting back to you guys, and I really like hearing from you and interacting with you also. So go ahead and shoot me an email, get a hold of me in the comments. I'll do what I can to help you out. Okay, everybody. Well, I'm signing off.